2023 was an interesting year for a lot of reasons. When we did this 12 months ago, we sort of reflected on what we thought might happen in 23, and I think I suggested what we needed was a steady ship and a need to avoid glorified headline grabbing by our government and things like this. My reflection would be that went well. Certainly the COVID inquiry that's ongoing has really shown that the guys that are in government and everything at the moment really are not necessarily looking after the best interests of the country, I think. So I don't think that played out as well as it should have done, really. So for 2022, I suggested the word I chose for that year was unpredictable because of the things that happened during that year. I think unfortunately that's continued to play out in 2023 for a lot of things, and certainly most recently the events in Israel and Gaza, which are horrific. Really, who could have predicted that happening? And that suggests a lot of unease and tension in the Middle East, which I think for the world, for the global economies and everything, is a bit of a worry, to be honest with you, because I don't see that changing much going forward. So for any business, of course, actually what we're looking for is stability and predictability. That's the thing that we all like, because then you can plan more easily. Unless you're very cutting edge at the front of everything and want disruption, most businesses want stability and predictability. And I think what that does, it creates unease and it creates uncertainty, which plays out in the plans you make, how you invest, how you sort of think about the future and everything. And it just makes it more challenging. Growing businesses at the moment is not easy. But what's great for Chartwell is that we've been able to do that. So we've seen about 12% growth for our business, which is fantastic to be able to report that, actually. And being able to do that growth when the UK economy has basically been flat for the year, I think is also quite an achievement, really. And a key element to all that is that we've been able to bring some great new people into the business. That's always the catalyst for being able to move forward. So we've invested in our production space, in our sales and marketing space, in HR. I've just got some new people in the business, which brings new ideas, fresh impetus and everything, which helps any business just keep moving forward. So 2023 was also an exciting year for Chartwell with regards to new products. So as well as our continuing stream of new ReadyPour products that we bring to market, we also reached agreement with Micron View to become their UK and Ireland distributor for their BAMS product, which is a real-time air monitoring system, which is a big step for us and provides another string to our bow within the environmental monitoring field that we service across the UK. And that BAMS product is quite an important thing, I think, in the drive that our industry is seeing towards having real-time results. So speed of result is a key thing within pharma manufacturing, partly driven, I think, off the back of the new Annex 1, which came out. So that real-time, new technology, it's great for us to be involved in that space now and to engage with our customers on that product. So as we look into 2024, I think there's some promising signs for the UK economy, which of course is an important factor for any business in the UK. So inflation's coming down. I think interest rates are going to start falling. Probably not rapidly, but they are going to start falling. So hopefully that's going to instill some improved confidence for business in the UK and stimulate some investment, which is the thing that's going to help drive economic growth in the UK. I think what everybody's looking for is some certainty. I talked about stability and predictability, and I think that's an important thing. And I think there's still change on the horizon. I think everybody's predicting we're going to have a change of government later this year. There's lots of odds going on which date it will be, but that's going to bring change for us. And hopefully the follow-on from that will be that return to a more stable environment. I talked about, obviously, the situation in the Middle East, and that impact on global economy and everything. I think it's a worrying sign that our government, the US government, have just recently got involved in tactical things there, some military intervention with the Houthis. I think that's a worry, because I think that is going to create a feeling of continued unpredictability throughout 2024. So it's funny, I think unpredictable is a theme that's running from 22 through 23, and I think it's going to continue to run through 24. Having said all that, we have ambitions to continue to grow our business. We have a 5-year plan called Accelerate, which we're now 2 years into, and our ambition is to meet and exceed those targets for growth in the business. And that means for us that we've got to just keep pushing a bit harder. For Cherwell particularly, we've just announced some very big news. Cherwell's joined the Analytichem Group, a group of 7 other dynamic businesses across Europe, North America and Australia, who operate in sort of the life science space. And this presents a really exciting opportunity for Cherwell, I think, because it opens us up to sharing knowledge, sharing best practice within the group. It's really interesting for us that 2 of the other companies in the group are also prepared media manufacturers, one based in Europe, one based in North America. So actually us sharing knowledge, sharing best practices with them is going to be really exciting, I think. And I'm sure that that will allow us to bring some new products, develop products for the benefit of our customers. One such product that we're really excited that we're just launching is our Ready-Port Beta Bag product. So we think that's going to be a big thing for us in 24. An exciting opportunity to work with our pharmaceutical manufacturer customers and allow them to have a really secure way for transferring settled plates into their grade A RABs and isolators. One of the interesting things that's really happening at the moment is this massive growth in AI. We probably all had a play on ChatGPT and got it to write a press release or a thesis or something, I don't know, and it's incredible what it can do now. The drive towards the increased use of technology, mentioned about real time with the BAMS product as well. I think there's some really interesting things to happen in that space. Undoubtedly it's a big challenge for SME businesses about how do you use AI? How do you deploy it? What could it do? Over and above writing stuff, I think we need to think broader than that. But also how this technology is going to impact drug development and drug discovery. We know from 4 years ago now, the COVID vaccine, how quickly that came to market and how the use of simulation tools really sped up that whole process. And it's going to be fascinating to see how the pharma industry uses AI and deploys it within their facilities as well. So despite Cherwell joining a group, one of the things that's really important within the Cherwell family is the values and the culture in the business. We've been a family-owned business. We're still a family. We're a family of people. But those values of reliable and adaptable partnership are key threads in what we do. And we want to be seen by our customers as being a reliable supplier, a consistent supplier, but more importantly that we work in partnership with them. The products that we bring to market really need to be focused on how we work together to help them resolve their challenges and their problems. So the sense of family and the values in the business very strongly linked to our why. Why do we exist? Why do we do what we do? And we're very clear about this, is that one day we might be the patient and you want to be sure that actually is our why. And the reason for saying that is because at the end of the supply chain that we service and support is a patient. We're quite detached from that, but everything we do is about helping that supply chain function really effectively and precisely so that the patient gets a safe, secure medicine.